All right, guys, so the goal for today is to go over the questions that were not in the 3 videos from homework the other night. You were supposed to complete these when Mrs. Brown was out on Wednesday, but if you did not, that is fine. Follow along with me. I just want to make sure that whatever goes in your notebook is good notes, so that is why we are going to work on these last couple of problems. So if you've done them, check your work. If you have not done them, follow along. So here we go. Observe equations A and B at the right. So we have A, 5n minus 7 is equal to 23, and B, 7n minus 7 equals 2n plus 23. What makes equation B different from equation A? Well, this is your basic two-step equation, right? Variable on one side. This is also an equation, a multi-step equation, but we have variables on both sides. Okay, and the next question asks, is there a way to rewrite question B so that it remains balanced and matches equation A? So yes, we would want variables on one side and constants on the other. Okay, if you have some way that you have said that, that is completely fine. It doesn't have to be exactly what I just wrote down, as long as you were saying something like what I just answered those 2 questions about, okay? I'm gonna fold this in half just so we have a little bit more room to look at. All right, so let's look at these bottom 2 questions. Question 1 and question 2 were answered in the videos, so you should already have those, but we're gonna work through 3 and 4 together. Now remember, we can have variables and constants on either side, the left or the right, but we have to have all the variables with the variables, all the constants with the constants. The steps that you do this in aren't necessarily, they don't have to match Mrs. Brown's. If you are doing it where you have all the constants on the left and the variables on the right, that's completely fine. That's up to you. You just have to make sure that you are creating the correct 0 pairs in order for that to happen, okay? So I like to have, as I told y'all a million times now, I like to have my variables on the right because I like to read x equals from left to right, just like when you're reading a book. So I am going to subtract 6x from both sides. That gives me a 0 pair on the right-hand side. 13x minus 6x is 7x, plus 9 is equal to a negative 12. Okay, so now I want to move this positive 9 over to the other side. So that's going to be a negative 9 on both sides. This is a 0 pair. 7x is equal to negative 21, because remember, these are both negatives. I can just combine them. I'm going to rewrite the rest up here just so it's easier to see. Okay, now we would divide both sides by 7. That creates a 0 pair. So we have x is equal to negative 21 divided by a positive 7 is going to be a negative 3. And remember, we would check this by plugging that negative 3 back into our values and making sure that the equation is balanced on both sides. I'm not going to do that today just for the sake of time. These videos can only be about 15 minutes long. All right, so 14x plus 1 is equal to 8x plus 3. Again, I like to get the variables on the left-hand side, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8x. So that gives me 14x minus 8x, 6x plus 1 is equal to 13. Now I want to move this positive 1 over to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. There's my 0 pair. 6x is equal to 12. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this step over here just for the sake of room. So 6x is equal to 12. Now this is just a one-step equation. Divide both sides by 6. That will give you x by itself, and x is equal to 2. All right, let's look at number 5. Jane is solving the equation below, and she first plans to add 12 to both sides, 12x to both sides. Her friend Allie thinks instead she should subtract 8x from both sides. Who is correct? So if you will follow along with what I just said with number 3, either one of them is correct as long as they have variables on one side and constants on the other. So as long as your answer has something that says something about both of them are correct, variables have to be on one side, constants on the other, okay? So you can write both and make sure that you're explaining variables on one side, constants on the other. Okay, don't just say both. When it says explain, make sure you're justifying why you said both. Don't just say both. Okay. Let's look at the back. So on the back, I am not going to have you worry about 6 and 9 for right now because that is where we are picking up on Monday during class. If you filled them out, great. But we will come back at a later time and do 6 and 9 all together. So you don't have to worry about 6 and 9 today. Just look at number 7. Okay, so we have 6x plus 3 is equal to 6x minus 20 minus x. So what I'm going to do first on the right-hand side is I am going to combine my x's, and I should have circled the negative sign up in here. Okay, so we have 6x minus x. So really on this side we have 5x minus 20, okay, because we had 6 and we take 1x away. 1x was negative, so we combine those. That would give us 5x, okay? So in order to get my x's on the left, I am going to subtract 5x from both sides. There's my 0 pair. That gives me x plus 3 is equal to a negative 20, okay? Now I want to move the positive 3 to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 3. And then I have x is equal to negative 23, okay? And then let's look at number 11. It's the last one that we will have to answer today. So not negative 11, but 11. Braden and Ellie each solved an equation as shown below. Circle the name of the student who solved correctly. So Braden had negative 3x minus 4 plus x is equal to 5x, negative 5x plus 5. So he should have, if he rewrote it, because we have negative 3x and positive x, negative 2x minus 4 is equal to negative x plus 5. So we're good so far, okay? Then if he was trying to get the x's on one side, he would add 5x here and add 5x here, okay? So that would give us 3x minus 4 is equal to 5. Then I would add 4 to both sides. So that would give me 3x is equal to 9, x is equal to 3. It looks like Braden is correct, okay? Let's see if Ellie is correct. 7x minus 2 is equal to negative x plus 6. So in order to get this x on the other side, we would add x to both sides, and that's where Ellie made the mistake. That should be an 8x right there. So Braden did his work correctly, okay? And the rest of the questions on that page should have been answered on the video. So what I would like for you to do is to put this in the next clean page in your notebook. You are going to tape it. So if you need tape today, go ahead and see me, or you can do a real thin line of glue on the very top. It's up to you, either way. And then you will add this to your divider for our equations unit, okay?